And we are live for today's race at Great Britain, Season 2, Round 5, the fifth race of the season at the Laysdown International Airport Circuit. This race is the first race of the season to have a chance of rain. Hopefully, it will spice it up. Let's see who could be the rain conqueror. As right now, all drivers are in the server, raring to go for the Grand Prix. It's going to be a spicy race. Anything can happen. People are going to have to react to the rain. So there's not going to be a strategy. As right now, everyone is making sure their game's working. They are on the formation lap. Oh, no. As they've all finished their form lap, I'm guessing. As everyone's on track. Yeah, they've done the form lap. So on pole today, we have Rosie in the Haas, who just pipped Pumpkin's lap time as it's red light in Great Britain. As everyone's firing up their engines, ready to start for the Grand Prix, as drivers have selected the intermediate compound. As it's the yellow lights, green lights, and away we go at Great Britain, as everyone's on track, going. Rosie got a clean start, same with Pumpkin. Everyone's going side by side so far. As now, in the first sector, it's Outguard and Rosie close on track. They're now fighting on the straight. Who's going to have the better straight line speed? And it looks to be Outguard, as it's Outguard leading the race on the first lap. Outguard's not messing around, as right now it's Rosie in P2, Pumpkin P3, but then it looks like Pikachu and Mich have slightly got ahead of him. And then it's Dambo, Aiken, RJ, Joseph, Matrix, Thomas, ASM. ASM really low in the grid. As then Storm, Aero, RJ, Blue, and then Turbo rounding off the grid. As Outguard sets the purple sector 2 with Rosie in the Haas chasing him down. As Pumpkin, Mitch, and Pikachu are all quite close on track. But just to confirm, it's Pumpkin in P3. They're so close. As right now, it looks like Outguard's just gapping the grid. So we won't be focusing on the man in first position for now. As in the midfield, we have ASM in P7 now. He's climbing up the grid in Great Britain. Then Thomas in P6 in the Alpha did spin. Wow. And he's lost his front wing. No. That's not good for Thomas. And that's probably wrecked his race, as he is going to be P16. And then Outguard. 1.2 second gap to Mitch, the championship leader, the Flying Dutchman, the man in the papaya orange McLaren. Outguard's making a statement already in the race. ASM's in 5th position in the Alpine, as Turbo is out, as he reset and now is in the garage. So now it's only 16 drivers remaining in Wet GB. At the front, I don't think Mitch has much of a response to Outguard. But then Rosie just behind. Oh! Rosie! think he spun. That puts him way down the order now. Oh no, he's lost his front wing, I believe. Oh no, no. There's it on. Wow, I think he's in P11. Yes, he's in P11. From P2 to P11. This is what happens when it's wet. Conditioned. Anything can happen. One single mistake is race defining. It's a 1-2 for McLaren so far. And then a Mercedes P3. And then ASM is actually, oh, what? A McLaren? ASM's in front of Mich. So now it's not a McLaren 1-2 for now, as it's going to be ASM charging, hunting. He's on a mission to get outguard, as the gap's 2.3 seconds. Mich must have went wide, as now, oh, he does a two-wheeler. He's really testing the limits, is the Dutchman. The defending champion finds himself in P4. And there's a slight gap between P4 and P5 already. And then Dambo in P6 and the Alfa Romeo going so close with Aiken. And then we've got a Haas of Rossi. Wow, some battling happening in the midfield as they're all so close. Dambo, Aiken and Rossi. Some good midfield scrap as they're all so close. And I think Rossi's in front by quite a bit now, so it's just Aiken and Dambo trying to decide the positions, as now they're all settled. So it is Rossi in P5. Pumpkin, he must have messed up, because now he's P8. That's not ideal for his race, as it's now a 50-man grid, because it looks like Aeroplane, the Ferrari man, the reserve, has disconnected. So some internet issues already, as it's Outguard leading the Grand Prix. 2.7 seconds in front of the Alpine driver. Mich is then 2 seconds behind ASM. Right now, it's just Dambo and Aiken quite close on track. As Matrix in the Haas reserve is trying to get closer to Pikachu. Pikachu was also near the front, so he must have messed up as well. As it's all really unfolding for the faster drivers, as then Matrix, Prophet and Dolphin are all setting personal bests. Everyone else going yellow. People are finding more pace as the race goes on. As Outguard so far, it looks like it's going to be a plain sailing race, as it's Matrix, just talking about him, has disconnected, or he crashed, but I think he disconnected. Doesn't surprise me, because Matrix does face many unreliability issues. And then that is Thomas also disconnected, I believe. So now it's a 13-man race. As then the gap up front is 3.3, then 6.6, then 9.6, then 10 seconds. So P1 to P5 is all within 10 seconds. And then P10 to P1 is within 24 seconds. Then Prophet, Joseph, and Blue Dolphin are all outside the points. They're all going desperate, as RJ and Prophet are really close on track. Once again, you know they had a good scrap at Hungary, and now they're also so close on track in Great Britain. Wherever they go, they are always close beside each other or just behind. as it looks like cross in the Red Bull driver of RJ is in front, the Mercedes reserves. So it's a 6-11 for Mercedes. Then it's a 1-3 for McLaren. And then we've got a lonely. No, yeah, we've only got one Alpine in the points, and that's ASM with his teammate Joseph in P12, who sets a personal best in Sector 2. He's now in the third sector in the Alpine. He is a strong driver, with perhaps lacking of confidence here and there. As Dambo and Aiken are close on track, with them Pikachu just behind 6, 7, and 8 positions, and 9, because Pumpkin's appearing just behind them. Four-way scrap, and they're all different teams. This is HIFL, and you can never predict which team is going to win. Apart from as then we've got the outer carry of Aiken leaving the pack. With then in Pikachu's actually in front of Aiken now for P6. Pikachu in the Aston Martin, we know what he's capable of doing. As it's intermediate conditions, they probably do not practice for this. They probably expected it to be dry, but this is the first wet race of the season, and it's going to be thrilling. As right now, the gap up front with Outlaw to ASM is 3.1 seconds. Oh, back to Pikachu. He had a bit of wheel spin. Now, the Alfa Romeo of wow. 3 wide, 4 wide, 3 wide, 2 wide into that corner. Going on to straight in sector 1, into then sector 2. There you go. As now the leaderboard saying in P6 is Pikachu, with then downward just behind with them Pumpkin P8, Aiken P9 in the Alpha Tauri. As it was all so close between these 4 drivers, P6 to P10. Wow. As they're all trying to go flat out onto the oh, Pumpkin. Pumpkin's out. He's somehow managed to fly over the barriers, and that looks like that's going to be him out of the Great Britain Grand Prix. Lays down International Airport Circuit as he front flipped over barrier but didn't crash, he says. And that's going to be his retirement in the race. As at front, it's ASM hunting out guard, 2.8 second gap, and the Mich is 8.7 seconds behind. So Mich doesn't have the pace in these conditions. Then Rossi, will Rossi be able to catch the defending champion, the season 1 Dutch champion Mich? We know what he's capable of. He's won 4 races this season, I believe. He's trying to make it a 5th, but it looks like it's going to go Outguard's way today, his teammate. As now they're already lacking Blue Dolphin, who's in P12. So now it's a 12-man/woman race. That is a woman. Pronouns, it's 2022. As Blue Dolphin is now letting the faster cars go in front. As Dominic, second, third. This is some sort of glitch. I'm guessing. I've never seen it before. But it looks like his race is over, because he's only going at slow speed, as he's going to roll it into the pits and probably retire. It's a gearbox failure. No SC, because he's going to record. He's going to have to pull off into the pits. And he's not happy about it. He looks to be raging ever so slightly. Racing's full of emotions as the gap at front is 2.5 seconds. ASN is recovering some time to outguard. Will outguard respond? As it's going to be ASM looks to be really settled in the race. He's now 1.7 second gap to Outguard, as Outguard looks to have a lot of very. No, he just looks to have barely any grip, but he's got tons of ERS. His green light is on throughout a corner. So that's going to be tough for ASM to recover. But he's actually gained another 4 tenths on the McLaren driver. Will ASM potentially be leading the race before he pits? As it's Danber and P6 who sets two personal bests, as it's Aiken and Profit, P7 and P8. They both, I think it's Profit, following in the AlphaTauri driver of Aiken, who lost his front wing, I believe. As it's now who can get out first, as it looks like Profit's got the faster pit stop, as they're now coming out the pit exit. Who's going to get it? As it looks to be Aiken. Yes, Aiken's got the better exit. Oh, as he slides into the corner. And now it looks like Profit's got the move. Wow. Outguard, track limits. You need to keep all four tyres on the track. Flat out, don't worry about it. Track limits, sector 2. As then it's Gambo setting personal best in P6 in the Alfa Romeo. As he's going to be chasing down Pikachu, who then also sets the personal best in sector 2. And then Dabo's now gone double green on this lap 12 of the Great Britain Grand Prix. As it's Rossi who goes purple in sector 3. So he's found some pace. He is making some indents to the leaders. As it's now, oh, for a split second, the leaderboard was saying ASM was in front, but it's just Outguard hanging in there. As it's now Dambo, track limits in sector 2. He looks to be caught having 4 tyres off the track. So he's pushing the limits, but maybe just a bit too much. But then Rossi, a personal best in the first sector in that house. He's really closing in to the season 1 champion. And then Pikachu's going green in the first sector. So people are finding pace. Profit also, not to mention, has gone green in sector 3. When will the top runners hit? That's the question. I believe it'll be ASM following or Outguard, depending on who will be in front for the pit stops. As the gap is saying 4 tenths, as they're going really close to each other. But now we've got a battle on our hands for P1. So from looking at P6 to P10 a lot, it's now gone to P1 to P2. Who's going to get the better? As it's Mich, who has just pit. I nearly missed him. As now it is Outguard hitting in the McLaren. So Mich in P4, the defending champion, has gone purple in sector 2. So it's going to be ASM probably responding in this lap. because he doesn't want anyone to get a major undercut on him. But it's Outguard. He's going to put. Oh, Rossie's in front of Outguard, I believe. Oh, they're going side by side. As it looks like Outguard might just stay in front of the Haas driver. The almighty Serbian Haas driver. Oh, as he gets a bad exit, does Rossi. He kinda just uses a bit too much curb and just doesn't get the traction. As it's then Mick, it says to be 7 seconds behind. So he has some work to do. He wants to win this race. As ASM, he's probably suffering this now. His tires have probably gone over the edge, but he won't give up. As I believe by the time he pits, Outguard and Rossi, who are on fresher tyres, oh, Outguard goes purple in sector two. The gap's 13 seconds. So the gap when ASM comes out is probably going to be 7 seconds or less. But Outguard is flying on those fresh intermediate compound of tyres. As ASM now released out of his pit box, as now he's going into the exit, as it's Outguard in front, as Rossi. Oh, Rossi, he got it all wrong there. He went on the yellow bump, and then he went far onto the other side of the track, and then collided into more yellow bumps, as that's not going to be ideal for him, as then behind him is Mick, so he can't afford to make another error, because now Mick has his eyes set on the rear of the Haas driver. So the gap up at front is 3.1 seconds. ASM has lost a handful of time to Outguard, but Outguard was right to pit before ASM, as it's RJ and P10 going green in sector one, as then it's Blue Dolphin hitting in P11, so he won't get points as brakes, but he won't give up. He just anything can happen in these conditions, as he pits from new inters and is now in the pit exit. As it's going to be a lonely race for him, I'm sure. But it's ASM going green in sector two, but it's still lost 5 tenths to Outguard. But Outguard has some serious pace. So it's 11-man race so far, as it's ASM track limits in sector two. He needs to be careful around that large turn exit, says the FIA. He can't afford to get more track limits. He needs to push the limits but not overdo it. As it's now Rossi, Aiken P7 goes green in the first sector. Now, second sector, will he get yellow? No, he doesn't. Green, no, he doesn't. He goes yellow. As it's P10 RJ, he goes triple green. Now he goes yellow in the first sector in the Red Bull. As ASM and P2 in the Alpine has gone green in sector one. And then in sector two, he goes yellow. But the gap's only 2.2 seconds. I feel like ASM's regained his rhythm. We never know if we get a good fight for the win in today's Grand Prix. As right now, the gap to P5 from the leader is 15 seconds, 22 seconds now, even larger. And then Dambo in P6. And then Aiken in the AlphaTauri, P7. Prophet in the Mercedes Reserve, P8. Then Joseph in the Alpine, ASM's teammate, in P9, getting points for Alpine. This is what they need. As then it's Mich in sector 3, track limits, says the FIA. Doesn't look like they're going to specify what he did or what he needs to do to be more careful, but he's avoided the track limits. As then ASM goes double green on the last lap, but then Outguard responds with a purple in the first sector. An almighty effort from Outguard. And he's really pushing the car, trying to get a large gap to ASM. Who knows? Oh, whoa. He's Joseph, ASM's teammate. He went over the yellow curb, and now He's just in front of his teammate who's a lap ahead. This is going to be kind of embarrassing for Joseph since his teammate's just behind. No, in front. As Outguard has a 2.8 second gap to ASM. Mich looks to be quite lonely in P3, but it is Rossi in P4, so Mich must have overtaken Rossi, or Rossi must have bottled under the McLaren pressure. And then, right now, in P6 is Dower, Aiken P7. Aiken's lost handfuls of tens of seconds. He must have made a crucial error. Because at one position he was fighting for P4, P5, or P6. As then it's now, this is FIA just announced Dambo track limits entering sector 3, all 4 tyres off. So FIA are on it for today's race. They're making every driver aware. And then Rossi is pushing. He might be going over track limits. As a commentator in chat says, look at Rossi. Wow. So will Rossi get a track limit eventually? As right now, all the drivers are set in yellow sectors. But the gap to P1, P2, P3 is 12 seconds. And then P4 to P10 is 90 seconds. So there are big gaps in today's race. But we've had some good battles. It hasn't been boring. As right now, the conditions on track are still 32%. This is what we started off with. So the rain hasn't made much change to the race. It's been fairly normal. As now Mich is losing time to the leaders, and then Rossi's 4 seconds behind Mich. That's the closest. No, ASM and Outguard have a 4.3 second gap, and then Mich to Rossi is 4 seconds. Everyone else has a larger gap. So, oh, Rossi, oh, whoa, no, he goes over the yellow bumps on the second sector straight, and now is deploying ERS to actually make up time. As it's Dambo in the Alfa Romeo. He must have lost. Yeah, he lost his front wing. And then he picked for a fresh set of inters. As now everyone's settled into the races. Profit's in the pits. As he is now revving his engine, ready to leave his pit box. And then he'll be back into P. He'll come out just in front of RJ in the Red Bull. So this will be interesting. And now Profit's coming out the pit. RJ just coming and sweeping around the outside of Profit. RJ's in front of Profit. So these two drivers are so close on track. And it's like a Hungary recap when they were fighting for similar positions, actually. As ASM P2 goes green in Sector 2. But then Sector 3, I think he might have went over the limit. But that was interesting. As he's going to be charging, trying to find time to then get the win. Oh, as he hits a bump in the first corner, does the Alpine driver. The gap's now 5.7 seconds as it's Joseph, his teammate in the Alpine in P8 hitting. So he's going to be boxing for a fresh set of intermediate tyres, as he will be in front of RJ and Profit. And then Pikachu and the Aston Martin is now pitting for a fresh set of inters unless somehow the weather drastically changes. But yes, he's going to be boxing. He's now revving his engine, leaving his pit box, and now he's in the pit exit as he will be in front of Aiken still. And then Joseph in P8, he's crashed in the Alpine first sector. Rare place to crash, but that's his race over. And he looks to be upset as then Dambo's off track. He did what Pumpkin did. It's all kicking off now. All the pit stops, and now people are just making errors. Fatigue, perhaps, is what's to blame, as it looks like Aiken now pits. The man in the AlphaTauri, Aiken, P6, that's a good result for him, as then on track limits, Sector 2. He needs to be careful, warns the FIA, and I believe that's his second track limit warning. And then Rossi's pit in P4. So he's reacting to Pikachu, as he will be boxing and he'll probably come out still in front of Pikachu, but then Pikachu will be setting a good Sector 3 because of the fresh tyres he is on. As Dambo, he is still off track. He should just give up. He can't come back on track. It's his race truly over. As Joseph, he messed up in Sector 1. He's asking, does he still get points? Has he made the 75% mark? And in front, Outguard, let's return back to him. Looks very composed. He looks like he has it all under control. He has good pace. The gap between him and ASM in P2 in the Alpine, 5.4 seconds. Will ASM close in? That's the question. As now ASM comes across the line, 5-second gap. Mich is 18 seconds behind his teammate. As then Mich is pitting, actually talking about Mich, the Dutchman, the Season 1 champion. He is boxing. He will come out in front of Rossi, only just by like 5 seconds perhaps. And then Rossi and Pikachu are close on track, 5 seconds separating them. Haas and Aston Martin. As Mich is now coming out the pits, as yes, he is comfortably in front of Rossi and Pikachu. As the gap between those two are going to be like a good old 8 seconds. As ASM is now 4.4 seconds behind the leader of Outguard. ASM and Outguard haven't picked for another set of inters. Very interesting. So ASM looks to be probably hesitant to box, but I would say if he boxed now, he'll get a good undercut and he could be in front of Outguard. He just needs the confidence to make a decision. As Rossi in P4 does go green in Sector 1 in the Haas. He has had a very, very dramatic race today. He has been going over the yellow bumps quite often, and he also, I believe, spin in the early stages of the race. As the gap up front is now 3.6 seconds, as it is, Blue Dolphin, I think he's spun, now he's now carrying on the straight as he takes it very tight. And then it's going to be ASM about to lap him for the second time. Blue Dolphin is struggling, but he will get points today. This is why he should never give up. He'll get 2 points, in fact. And Outguard, will he pit this lap? Everyone else has pit again, but ASM and Outguard just went for a different strat. As then Mich, Outguard's teammate, goes purple in Sector 1, saying to his team can verify Outguard and say, you should pit. You can set good sector times. As what will ASM do? I feel like he's missed his chance to pit. So I feel like they're both going to the end. So on these tyres, Mitch will be hunting them down. But I don't think he'll be able to claw back 30 seconds in 4 laps. As the gap between Rossi and Mitch is 9 seconds, Mitch has found his groove. He is now deploying tons of ERS in the last sector. He's trying to get the fastest lap, I believe, as he's now going to come across the line to go purple in sector 3 and 1, setting the fastest lap as he gets all squirrely into the second corner of the airport circuit. Right now, we have P6 to P10 over 100 seconds behind the leader. P5 to P1 is separated by 45 seconds. The closest gap on track is 1.9 seconds. ASM has found time to outguard. Is outguard struggling? Will he pit? Probably not. It's too late. But let's just see what he's going to do. As he doesn't pit, as Aiken track limits in sector 3, as then RJ, he's boxed in for a fresh set of inters. He must have made a mistake because now will profit. Oh, maybe he's going to make a late charge for profit. As then ASM is separating those two on track. As now ASM's hunting down Outguard. Who's going to take P1 in today's race? Will it be Outguard? Will it be ASM? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you're still watching, that is. As the gap's now 1.4 seconds. As Mitch is now 26 seconds behind Outguard. So he is finding plenty of time. But he just hasn't had the pace today. And that's what's made him only get P3. Rossi and Pikachu are close on track, separated by 3 seconds, I believe. As Pikachu has found good pace. Oh, as he drifts a bit. Now, ASM's only 6 tenths behind Outguard. Outguard's getting stuck behind Profit in P7. Will Profit let Outguard go, or will he be stubborn? As it looks like he's letting them both go. As Outguard running quite wide. It looks like ASM has better pace. As the gap on the leaderboard says ASM's in front. The gap's less than a tenth of a second. Who's going to get the better traction into the slightly S section in sector 1? Now heavy braking. Who's going to brake the latest? As it looks like Outguard's got a nice exit, but then ASM went slightly wider. He's going to get the better top straight. He's going to get the better speed on the straight. As then braking late, both of them. Outguard's going to hang in there. The gap's 3 tenths, as I think now ASM has secured P1 in HIFL at GB. I don't recall ASM ever winning in HIFL, so this could be his first ever win. It's going to mean a lot to him. He struggles to join quali. He's managed to set a lap, I believe, and then he's now clawed his way back. As I remember, in early stages of the race, and he's only in P13. Look where he is now. He's had pace, as the gap between him and Outguard is over a second. As then Mitch has lost plenty of time. 8 seconds, he must have spun or something, because he was on the threat of the compounds. As then Rossi's only 3 seconds behind him, it says on the leaderboard. As Mitch on my screen has frozen, as he disconnects. Mitch will get points actually, because he's managed to complete 75% of the race, and that's a rule in HIFL. You are awarded points if you finish 75% of the race. As Mitch has bad luck for the first time in his Roblox career. And now that promotes Rossi to the podium, the man who spun in the early stages of the race. So now it is ASM controlling the race with a 3 second gap to outguard. As drivers in the track are surprised and angry because they feel like they could have got a strong result, especially when Mich disconnects. Ooh, blasts off. As right now, Outcast is dropping. He should have pit, he didn't pit. But he's stretching these compounds. Everyone else made a better decision, but the gap between them is too much to actually claw back. As now they are on the last lap. ASM's on the last lap. Will he bottle it? Will he keep it clean? Will he keep the victory? For Alpine, Alpine could get a win in HIFL. And now it's going down the first sector straight in the French team, Alpine, as he breaks super late. He's going to want to make it a clean lap, safe. And then Outgot 5 seconds behind. 5.4 seconds is the gap. Then he's got RJ just in front of him. Yeah, he's got RJ just in front of him. As now ASM, he survives the bump on the second sector straight. As now is in sector 3 of the GB lap 30 Grand Prix. As he's now deploying all the ERS, he's going to come into the last corner of the race. He's going to take it in Great Britain. Does ASM in the Alpine? He takes the win in Great Britain. And that's a wrap in today's race. The Alpine driver took the win. His first ever win with mounts, he says. Wow, he gets it. That was a good race from him. The gap between him and Outlaw was 7.5 seconds. Wow. So, it's only been 2 drivers in 5 rounds to take a win. That is Mich taking 4, and then ASM, the only other driver to take a win. And he took it in style. He came back from far, far back in the grid. As then it's Rossi in P3, 2 seconds only in front of Pikachu. Then Aiken will get P5, RJ P6, Profit P7. Mich finishes, it says on the leaderboard, in P8, then Blue P9, Dambo P10. So that's it for the Great Britain Grand Prix. We hope you enjoyed it. The rain conditions didn't really impact it a lot, but at least we had a good midfield battle and a short battle between the leaders. So that is it for the Great Britain Grand Prix, as we are going to have a break for 1 week, and then we'll have the USA Grand Prix, and that will be the second part of the season, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.